Hey, why don't we sing a song, just like to raise our spirits?
Singing?
No singing!
Well, it works with little kids.
I hate to be the voice of cliche here, but are we there yet? And follow-up question, where are we even going?
Nowhere. We're on a literal road to nowhere. Come on inside.
Hey, it's not that bad. The sun is shining, the traffic is light, trouble is in the rear view.
And my ass is sore.
Hey man, let your home be the open road.
Our home is a cramped Pope-mobile that smells like Cheeto farts.
Hey, when is it my turn to drive?
Oh, just as soon as your backwards island nation never decided to drive on the wrong side to begin with.
At least I can drive stick.
Oh, shut up. Third gear, please.
Third gear,
Is it okay for Daniel to drive if he needs someone to work the stick?
Yep, I was thinking the same thing.
I got us this far, didn't I? Someone passed me one of those sticky lint-covered lozenges out of the glove box.
Oh, we ran out of sticky fluff-covered lozenges a few miles back. I didn't want to say anything for morale purposes.
In other news, we lost a tire.
Don't distract me with the details, man. We still got 3 wheels out of 4. That'll get us at least 75% of the rest of the way there.
I'm no mechanic, but I'm really not sure it works that way.
And I'm pretty sure math doesn't work that way either.
Pull over right now.
Road to nowhere.
Oh, I can't believe this is
Come on,
happening.
guys.
Listen, it's not that bad, guys.
Should not have let
Jesus.
Daniel drive.
Really not that bad. It's Inquisitor's log. Situation remains dire. After several hours of fumbling around, we are no closer to fitting a spare tire. Supplies low, no food, no water, fluff-covered lozenges or a bitter memory. Also, need to get a notebook or a tape recorder or something. Lacking any such materials, I am forced to just narrate my logs aloud while watching my fellow cultists. This is not the sign of a deranged mind.
Hey, what's Ethan doing?
I don't know, it's Inquisitor stuff. He's been talking to himself for an hour. Sign of a deranged mind.
Huh, you don't say.
Come on, Hope, lift! I have to get this flat off.
It's heavy!
Hey, I thought women under stress had superhuman strength. Dig down deep. Everyone, quick, put Hope under stress.
Stress.
Oh, hey, I got it!
I can't believe that worked. Why don't we have an actual tire iron?
I don't know. All I could find was this bendy metal thing with like a socket bit at the end.
What?
How hopeless they seem, like actors in a show written by an idiot who is probably French or something.
So, what's step 2?
We jack the car up and stick on a spare, I guess. So if you could just,
Oh no, forget it. I'm done. That superhuman strength under stress business is really only supposed to happen like if my children are in danger or something.
Hey, and what are we?
Being childish doesn't make you my literal children.
Oh, this is ridiculous. We're smart people. I mean, I am anyway. I can't get stranded and probably die of hunger just because of a stupid tire.
While being stared at by a lunatic, don't forget.
Their situation remains grim. Vultures probably everywhere, waiting. Always waiting. Waiting until the time of waiting is over, before more waiting.
could you maybe add something more helpful?
Well, this does actually remind me of experimental postmodern surrealist dramedy Rubber, actually.
Is it dramedy or dramedy?
Yeah.
But either way, we've got nothing better to do, so...
Dramatic.
Conclave?
Conclave.
Conclave.
Conclavio.
The conest of claves.
Stress! I mean, conclave.
Hey, why do you smell like lint-covered lozenges?
Along the baking blacktop of old Route 66, Fleeing the hellscape of New Jersey, a stolen Pope-mobile sputters. Past the Saguaro, where tumbleweeds bounce and vultures circle. Lost in the desert due to an unexpected flat tire, low on fuel, out of supplies. The members of a secret society struggle to survive in a classic tale of man versus nature. All so they can scrutinize those films which are rumored to drive viewers to madness and dissolution. Draw closer, dear listener, let your trembling ears sup upon the eldritch knowledge of the Cinemania Society.
We the fellows of the lenses of palm do convene to judge if offering cinema worthy of our esteem, or whether she cast down worthless hokum. Let us start our friends in judgment.
We the fellows.
And welcome to our listeners, to whom I will now issue this warning. We, disciples of the Cinemania Society, have studied the mysteries of the motion picture and meditated upon the silver screen for many years. Therefore, we have become inured to the films we scrutinize, which may contain hazards unsuitable to young and sensitive ears. As such, we advise anyone listening to do so with discretion. Guard your ears carefully, lest you develop a severe and irreversible case of cinemania. Present at our conclave tonight are
Scrutinizer Zachariah, guardian of the door.
Profligator Daniel, possessor of the word.
Auntie Hope, keeper of the books.
Professor Andrea, scholar of San Francisco.
And Verifier Andy, master illuminator.
I am Inquisitor Ethan, keeper of the lenses. I will be serving as Pontifex of Presentment for tonight's subject of scrutiny, Rubber, a film from 2010 directed by techno-EDM annoyancer Quentin Dupieux. Professor Andrea will act as master castigator for this conclave. Professor Andrea, present the charges.
Charges against the film Rubber include having a tired premise, solicitation of violence against various vermin and bits of garbage, unlicensed head explosions, criminal navel gazing, excessive binocular gazing, attempted fusion of French surrealism with American tropes, willfully making no sense with malice aforethought, failure to credit the lead actor, fourth wall on fourth wall violence, improper storage of a sheriff, negligent exploitation of an unaccompanied tire, blatant acknowledgement of nonsense, blatant denial of nonsense, application of more layers of reality than the Truman Show, vehicular homicide, trigger warnings, violence, extreme gore, nudity, cruelty to animals, how could you, and implied stalking.
Thank you, Professor Andrea.
So what are we supposed to do? Just stand here in the middle of the desert talking about a weird movie? Who would even do that?
Not us.
Damn right.
This is more prairie than a desert.
I have a quick question. You said failure to credit the lead actor. Does that mean not crediting the tire?
A tire?
Yeah.
I almost lost it there. I was like about to start crouching.
Silence, you fools! The conclave will begin! Brother Zachariah, begin the recounting.
We begin in a desert.
More a temperate zone plains region.
Silence!
We begin in a desert, where some nerd has been placing chairs haphazardly along the road. He seems pretty pleased with the job he's done. Then a police car comes down the road and mows the chairs down slowly and deliberately. The camera lingers on this wanton furniture assassination, which surely must mean the sequence is important. Once the last breakaway chair has been rendered to splinters of balsa, the trunk pops open, and a sheriff gets out to give us all a little speech. He points out that some things in movies happen for no reason at all. Why is E.T. brown? Why do the characters in Love Story fall in love? In JFK, why does the president get assassinated? Why does no one go to the bathroom in Texas Chainsaw Massacre? No reason. The important thing to remember is that in all great films, just like in real life, there's always stuff that just happens for no reason. Everything that's about to happen in this upcoming film is an homage to no reason. Quite an opening.
It's the ultimate because fuck you. That's why.
That's fucking right. Turns out that this speech has an audience, a random group of people way off on a ridge. They are here, apparently, to watch the events of the movie as they are happening, through binoculars that the nerd conveniently provides. Yeah, that's handy.
Maybe the chairs were for them. What assholes.
Yeah, no, that's what they're for. Yeah, that is exactly it.
So we're conclaving about a movie that is about people watching a movie, and the movie that the people are watching, which includes a sheriff talking about the nature of those silly people watching him in the movie all at the same time, only it's not a movie, it's actually happening in front of them. And it's all for no reason.
This is too much already. So go on.
It's almost like it's by Christopher Nolan.
I was going to say, this seems like it even exceeds our bi-quadratic levels of cinemania seen in The Mouth of Madness.
Yeah, that's right.
No, this is too much already. I'm starting to feel despair.
You're just hungry.
I'm getting hungry for despair. That's even worse.
Is that worse than being hangry?
So here's the thing. In the middle of nowhere, for no reason at all, there's an abandoned car tire. Just sitting there, among all the various bits of garbage and trash that apparently have blown into the sand. Not so much to look at, you might think. The audience are already getting a bit restless. But suddenly, the tire starts to move. Slowly at first, it shifts a little in the sand and dust and pulls itself upright. This is a movie about that tire.
Tread carefully.
Shut up!
This is a really tired story.
Silence!
I misheard you, and I thought you were watching Flubber. You're making me want to see Flubber. That's an actual crime.
Be quiet!
Ooh, sorry to puncture your entire bit.
Obscure and labored. Pun overruled.
Well, I like it so far.
You do?
It's really good.
Hate you all. Moving on.
All right, so I will admit, the first time that somebody said, hey, let's watch this movie Rubber, I did not think it was about a tire.
Yeah. I accidentally downloaded the wrong Rubber.
You think it was a movie to watch with condiments?
So off of Pornhub, you're saying?
Oh.
Maybe. All I'm going to say is the tire said, "What are you doing, step tire?"
Of course.
And, you know.
Oh, no. No. We are not going down that road. Please continue narrating.
All right. So the tire can just roll around on its own. Maybe it's magic. Maybe it's science gone mad. Maybe there's no reason. The tire gradually learns how to roll really well. There's a lot of scenes of just the tire rolling around, falling over, getting up, practicing rolling some more, getting better at rolling.
However, it's like a kung fu training montage.
Yes, except without the kung fu and heavy on the montage. However, soon the tire runs into something. An empty plastic bottle. Gird your loins and pucker every orifice because things are about to go crazy town Nutsenberg. The tire tentatively rolls over the bottle, crushing it. This is an act of wanton destruction that has awakened something in the tire. Next, the tire discovers murder when a desert scorpion happens to pass the tire's tracks and is crushed too. Lastly, the tire encounters a half-buried glass bottle in the sand. This is more sturdy, and it will not break. Expressing pure, rubbery wrath, the tire wriggles, and with a classic piece of stock sound, causes the bottle to explode with telekinesis. Yes, this is happening now.
And let me tell you, it looks as masturbatory as you just sounded.
Yeah, I know, right?
This is probably one area where it overlaps with the the other rubber that Zach accidentally watched.
It's even got a little bit of that of like, some guy going at it under a blanket.
Sound.
Actually, now you mention it, is it too late to go and watch Flubber?
I'll cue it up.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, this is a moment of personal growth. In a 2001-esque series of lessons in almost complete silence, the tire is learning things about itself and the world around it. Specifically, that there are things around waiting to be crushed, and crushing is good.
It's like a toddler. A circular, vulcanized toddler.
And there are things that don't crush, and that's when you just got to explode your problems away. This is basically one bad tire.
Is it truly a bad tire? I mean, doesn't the appetite for destruction lie in the heart of every person, every beast, every mode of transportation? The question is if we inflate that appetite with empty calories, or
Shut up. I told you we're out of lozenges, we're out of fluff, and we're certainly out of the combination of the two.
Well, was the tire always evil?
Is anything really evil?
Well, what is evil?
Was it born with the desire to destroy, or did it learn it along the way?
Well, I feel that this is the Garden of Eden moment the tire goes through, where it eats that first apple and learns about good and evil and chooses violence.
No, you and your religiosity. This is nature versus nurture. It is formed by its environment. If it
Who's nurturing this tire? It is alone in nature. It is simply expressing its innate nature. No one is influencing it.
No, that's true. This is absolutely one of those, like, feral tire psychological experiments.
Yeah.
It's basically it's just a little bit hungry, and we're seeing the birth of the uber munchies.
So the tires...
or is that an Uber Michelin?
Certainly a tire on a Michelin.
Oh, my God. I'll tell you, it seems to be having a good year.
I don't know about Ethan, but I'll allow it.
All right.
This one I'm really going fast.
Roll.
All right, you're tiring me out, guys.
I'm just going to say I'm having more fun with this than I had actually watching the movie. All right. The spectators we met before are following all this with the help of their binoculars, and they don't have any answers either. It seems whatever they came here expecting, this is probably not it. By the end of the day, the tire is getting pretty good at blowing shit up with the powers of its completely lack of sentient mind. But time has marched on. It's getting dark in the desert now, and so our hero lays down to rest. I guess he was...
Don't say it!
somewhat worn out by all the exertion.
Wow, it's getting pretty dark. We can't just camp out in a broken down, stolen Popemobile. What are we going to do?
If I can take the fan belt, yes, and lash it around these branches, yes, okay.
Yeah, what you got?
Can we set it on fire? I'm cold.
Don't get your you up, Hope. Disappointment and regret are always just around the corner.
Spoken like a true Englishman.
Yes, and done. Perfect. Well, it's not much. It's a little basic, sure. It'll work as a door.
That's it?
Hey, I'm the door guy. I've done my part. Who else can say that?
And hark, around the corner cometh our two old friends arm in arm once more like bosom chums. Why, it's disappointment and regret.
That's it. Somebody just pick a direction and we'll follow the road. It's a road. There has to be a gas station or a motel or something. Hop up, move it, let's go.
What about my door?
Put a sign on it. Out to lunch, back in 5 minutes or whatever. Come on, I'm freezing.
This isn't stopping the conclave. We will continue in the morning.
Society, back in 20, yours in crayon, Zachariah, guardian of the door.
If I want to know about this, I'm sick of conclaving the...
Please stop your
Conclaving
hissing and moaning
here.
for
Can't
once.
even
Glance our fish.
Hold up. I reckon they come this way. What was your first clue of the broken-down car we've been following? Who said that? Horse-ass face?
Nope.
Piss wagon?
Nope.
Goat cheese? I want a new name. Could be worse, just ask horse-ass face.
Are we talking new names?
We ain't relitigating this shit now. Not when we're so close. Where are they?
Hey, check this out. Someone's left a note.
What's it say?
Out to lunch, back in 20 minutes. Why'd they leave it pinned to his shitty pile of steaks?
Who knows what some freak-ass ex-Cinemunicado are thinking. Can't wait to mess him up. Well, I guess they're waiting 5 minutes, boys. Get comfy.
Sure thing, Bone Skidoo.
Okay, maybe we can relitigate a little.
Yeah, motel, sweet motel, I guess.
Yeah, I would not describe this pineapple-covered wallpaper as sweet.
And how do you know that?
No reason.
Ugh, dude, this is a motel, not Willy Wonka's fucking chocolate factory. Don't lick shit.
Especially in a motel.
Sorry.
This will do. We only had enough for one room, so I'll take the large, luxurious bed with electric massage function. The rest of you build a series of nests or pillows and blankets or whatever on the floor.
Dibs on leaning against the door.
Dibs on the phone book. Clark Nova can chew that up into a nice, cozy nest.
You can chew that shit yourself, meatbag.
Well, it's better than spending the night outside, I guess. Shitty motel beats freezing desert night.
I thought it was a quasi-temperate grassy plain zone.
Whatever. It's out there and we're in here and not in it, and that's all I care about.
Listen, in the name of our dark bargain, I demand a comfy blankie and a cup of cocoa.
I gotta get this small freedom of my dark bargains better.
Okay, well, the front desk said they've got a spare that'll work for us, so tomorrow we can head back to the car and get rolling again.
Since we're all feeling warm and relaxed, on with the conclave. Continue the reading while I get old, snuggly wuggly.
Drop your electric vibro bed.
What kind of hotel is this?
Morning in the desert, and the tire wakes up. As much as an inanimate piece of rubber can do that. It rolls off for further adventures, while the nerd who seems to be running things rather rudely wakes up the spectators who spent the night in sleeping bags. Talk about commitment to cinema watching. Folks grumble about the lack of facilities and they're getting hungry. I mean, they thought ahead to bring sleeping bags, but no one packed food. What were they thinking?
Priorities.
But where the tire goes, they have to follow. After stopping at a pool of water to wet its whistle.
Do tires even drink water? I mean, how do they even drink water? It has no orifice. Orphe?
Biologically speaking, I think they skid.
Must you all be so literal? Shut it.
Anyway, after a brief pause to explode a poor rabbit, the tire is in high spirits as it rolls on its merry way. Soon, however, it comes to a road, and there's a pretty young girl in a convertible just driving along, minding her own business. For inscrutable reasons of its own, the tire decides to gear up for a psychic attack. It somehow causes her car to stall out, and the tire approaches slowly, relishing the moment. But, in a stroke of luck, a pickup truck happens to shoot past and knock the tire to the side. With the tire's concentration broken, the girl is able to restart her car and she gets away, never knowing how close she came to rubbery fury.
Was it just me, or was there anyone else at the rabbit park saying, "No, not the poor bunny"?
Oh yeah. The animal murder is really well done from a practical
It's
perspective,
very wanton.
and really upsetting.
Yeah, especially about the crow. That made me mad.
Yeah.
It's just so unnecessary. Like there's no lead up to it or anything. It's just, oh look, there's something. I'm going to explode it.
Yeah, they really commit to exploding vermin.
Crows are not vermin.
They commit to exploding anything that crosses the path of this tiger.
Yeah, it's an analogy for how we just run over things nimbly-bimbly in our cars all the time. All the roadkill on the side, you think the tires care? No, it's just another dead bird, another dead rabbit.
We can't handle another layer of metaphor here. Forget it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
we're
going to go
up
back
to
to
at least a
it's happening
sixth
for no
wall break.
reason. Let's just go back to the no reason, just because.
All right, no reason.
Because fuck the rabbit, that's why.
Yeah, pretty much.
The driver of the truck stops for gas, and the tire's close behind. It hasn't forgotten that this guy gave it a really rough nudging before. And while the driver's getting ready to drive away, the tire straight up blows his head apart with psychic force. The tire has killed its first human, and the taste of blood is fresh in its rubbery little mouth. This is where our plot takes a hard swerve to the left.
God damn it!
And now for our anti-lock hero.
God damn it!
Tread carefully.
God, no. Never mind.
The tire's gone from roaming road rager to singularly obsessed stalker. It comes to a cheap motel where the girl has taken a room, rolls up to the slightly open door, and nudges itself inside.
And this is why you got to know what your door situation is like at all time, guys.
I'm not arguing. Someone else, please argue.
I mean, I agree. Like, why does she leave the door open? That only ever happens in the movies.
No AC.
Yeah, I mean, don't want to be victim blaming or anything here, but who showers with all the doors open?
No reason.
Hey, Zach, when's a door not a door?
What are you talking about? You can't undoor a door.
When it's ajar.
At least it's not a tire pun.
There is that.
Yeah.
It at least.
I had to do it. Anyway, inside the motel room, the girl's taking the kind of open-door, fully nude shower that's frankly the least bizarre thing to happen so far. The tire gets an eyeful. The tire full? I don't know. It's obviously watching. And the spectators are watching too. Remember them? We wish we didn't. They comment on her relative hotness, which is even skeevier given it's an actual crowd of people following her with binoculars. Maybe this is how we should see ourselves when we watch people on TV and talk about them? Maybe it's a metaphor? Maybe it's an excuse to get the young lady into the shower for no reason?
Maybe she should have had a door guardian. Huh?
It seems
Too
particularly
many
French
ways.
to me.
Rather than wanting to explode her, the tire seems to be almost affectionate. But she has no idea and just closes the door when she notices it got bumped open. She settles in for the night, and we cut back to the complaining audience. They're getting very hungry now, and it seems like there's no meal service coming. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to anyone, the nerd who's been herding the spectators around is staying much more comfortably in another of the motel rooms.
So is he a nerd herder?
Scruffy-looking nerd herder. He gets a phone call and speaks to a mysterious master person who's never going to be identified or explained or even referenced again. They discuss a mysterious plan for the morning that apparently involves the live turkey sharing this room with him, a suitcase full of sinister-looking bottles and vials, and carving knives. Could be harmless. As the next day dawns, the nerd leaves the hotel with a sack in hand and wakes up the audience again. He upends the sack and presents them. By present, we mean dumps into the dirt in front of them. He upends the sack and presents them with an unrecognizable lump of meat that we must assume is the freshly cooked turkey from the night before. The spectators are so hungry they fall on it like a pack of ravenous animals. And once again, it seems like this is probably quite symbolic of something. I guess the moral of the story is don't be the turkey?
Am I the only one who saw the turkey in the hotel room and was thinking, no, not the turkey?
It's pretty much every animal in this movie. It's like, no, not the fill in the blank.
No, not at all. I immediately assumed it was a sex thing.
To the original intention of the title, rubber.
Gobble, gobble.
Does he need to? Can you get diseases from a turkey? Transmissible diseases?
Listen, I gotta go see my doctor. I've got salmonella in a place you shouldn't get salmonella.
The back of a Volkswagen?
And the master made me think that he was a vampire or something.
As it happens, the only person who isn't eating is an older guy in a wheelchair. He has the look of a grizzled veteran, and he wants nothing to do with this day's breakfast. He seems to suspect foul play.
Much better. That, comrades, is a pun you can crow about.
Oh, cock-a-doodle don't.
I'll show you your cock-a-doodle doom.
Now you're mixing your birds.
That pun was a real turkey.
So far, the mysterious turkey-flinging nerd and the girl have stayed the night in the motel, but it turns out the tire has moved in too. When a maid starts cleaning one of the rooms, she discovers the tire in the shower, apparently enjoying an early morning wash after leaving filthy tread marks all over the sheets. Naturally, she assumes that some maniac dumped a spare tire in the bathroom and tosses it outside. The tire will remember this treatment. That's no way to get a good review on TripAdvisor.
Admittedly, it did leave skid marks all over the sheets, so, you know.
It rolls right back on in to remonstrate with the maid. This time, someone actually notices it moving of its own accord. A teen boy who runs to tell the owner of the motel, who's presumably his dad? His uncle? Future clone? Unclear. Either way, they're somehow related. But no one wants to hear about this weird tires, and he's dismissed for talking rubbish.
I can't argue this one. That's actually in the movie. Even they can't help themselves. But I do want to point out that this is supposed to be set somewhere in the American Southwest, and I don't think I've ever heard an American call garbage rubbish.
There were actually quite a few points in this movie where you could tell that they weren't American English speakers. Because the kid says, instead of saying he's on summer vacation, he says, I'm on holidays.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, you can tell that the script was not written by an American.
It's a tale told by a Frenchman, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Okay.
It's what we like to call le bullshit.
We return to the tire, just chilling in its room and watching TV over the very sploded maid. The young lady heads outside for a swim in the motel pool, so the tire rolls over to watch. All thoughts of murder now seem replaced by some other inexplicable rubbery motive. After she leaves, the tire plops into the pool and just hangs around on the bottom like a French New Wave protagonist, having one of those good long underwater thinks about the ennui of life or some shit.
Or because tires can't float.
Not without an inner tube, I guess. As they watch the events unfold, one spectator after another starts to feel a bit ill. It starts with stomach pains, but soon becomes more serious. One after another, the entire group keels over. Remember the guy in the wheelchair from before? He helpfully informs the others that the turkey must have been poisoned because, no shit, but he came for a show and he is damn well gonna get one. No early poisoning death for him, no sir.
He does pledge that they won't get away with this. Not that he's doing anything to stop them, maybe he just means he won't let them get away with making the film shorter than it needs to be.
Right. It's like, I'm not going to let you get away with not having an ending.
So the boy returns to the room where the tire was staying and finds the remains of the earlier maid-splosion. That's enough to earn a call to the cops at least. And soon, they're swarming the place led by the same sheriff from the start, who told us all not to worry about the meaninglessness.
See, I'm not sure if I should trust him less because he climbed out of the fucking trunk, or if the fact that his name is Sheriff Chad.
Would you have preferred if he was Sheriff Virgin?
I mean, he climbed out of that trunk like it was nothing. He just pops right out.
No reason.
Trademark.
The boy tries to explain that this was all the tire's doing, but once again, nobody's buying it. After all, it's just a tire, sitting there harmlessly, notably not exploding anyone at the moment. The sheriff is remarkably calm for someone investigating a spontaneous human head explosion, and soon the reason becomes clear when his watch beeps. He remarks that it's been 6 hours, poison's had time to work, and the spectators should be dead, so there's no point in everyone acting like they're in a movie anymore.
Oh, he's just so complicit. I wonder if he's the master the dude called.
That's what I took, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
You know, there's no direct implication of it, but there's also no any other hints whatsoever, so he could be, or they could both be working.
There's nothing
for the
contradicting
master.
it.
Ambiguity is the medium in which we practice.
No reason.
Yeah, this all just got a whole extra layer of meta. Time to get some sleep. After all of that, we need to go and lie down.
Oh, listen, if anyone knocks, check the peephole before you open the door. If it's some guy sporting a hairdo like a Playmobil figure, standing there in his stocking feet, do not answer it. He is definitely an assassin.
Okay, friendo.
Ah, what a beautiful morning. I, for one, slept wonderfully.
Ugh, speak for yourself. How many electric massages did you have?
I had to use all of the remaining quarters. We'll have to live off the land from now on. See if you can scavenge a plate of eggs Benedict and some bacon.
Off the land?
I'd settle for brioche and jam.
Stay focused, guys. We got a spare tire. We got tools. We can get moving again as soon as we find the car.
Is a Pope Mobile actually a car? I thought it was a van.
I think if you're getting technical, it's a crossover SUV.
I feel like we've been walking a lot longer than we did last night. How is that even possible? That's not even how geography works.
There it is. Hey, what's that? Are those people?
Yes, poor bastards. Looks like they spent the night out here and froze solid. The temperate grassy prairie can be brutal at night.
Prairie hell? This is a desert.
It's a prairie.
Oh, come on! That's a fucking saguaro cactus over there. Do I have to get David Attenborough on the line?
Must you name drop that poor man at every opportunity?
Huh. Looks like they saw the sign we left on Zach's makeshift door and just waited? That's stupid.
See? Perfectly functional door.
Without any perfectly functional walls?
Well, what do we do? Just leave them here?
Well, I mean, we could,
Please don't say eat them.
Oh, I got nothing then.
Rob them of anything remotely valuable first?
Spot on. Yes, I'm definitely not interested in Long Pig. Go right ahead. Onwards to further Conclave glory.
Right. All right. The spare tire looks good. I think we can get moving.
Hey, check this out. I got some cool biker jackets.
You mean you stole them from the poor frozen bastards over there?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Excellent.
Is it technically theft if they're dead?
In D&D, we call it looting.
We better get moving. Judging by those frozen dipshits, it looks like Cinema Assassins are still on our trail. The more distance we can cover, the better.
I wonder what legion they've sent this time.
Any idea where we're headed?
That's the best part. Since we have no idea, no one can reveal our plans to the enemy.
Who would do such a thing? I'm sure it's just been bad luck.
Well, it ends here. This cult has been leaking information. We need to tighten our security.
You know what they say. Loose lips.
Get tips.
Huh? What? No! Sink ships. Loose lips sink ships.
What ships? We're not on a boat.
It's a metaphor.
What's a metaphor?
Well, maybe we should stop releasing regular podcasts about what we're getting up to.
Never!
Hey, are you saying you don't trust any of us?
I'm not saying I don't trust you all implicitly. I'm saying I do mistrust you all explicitly.
Yeah. Hash it out when we're on the move. These frozen nudists are just creeping me out.
Wait, why are they all naked?
I also found all these pants.
Get in the damn car.
Van.
Crossover.
Just continue the conclave. We just need to get started, okay? I'll take this next bit. The sheriff who is supposed to be investigating all the madness announces that it's time to go home. Nice working with everyone, but it's all over. The other cops seem a bit nonplussed at their boss trying to explain to them that everything around them is pure fiction, and since the audience is all dead, they can drop the act that this is real life. They rather reasonably point out that this is, in fact, real life. They do, in fact, need to investigate the murders that have, in fact, been going on. In order to prove that nothing is real, the sheriff actually orders one of his underlings to take out their pistol and shoot him. Which they do.
The second time.
Yeah, repeatedly.
I gotta say, I would take a lot more haranguing before I would agree to that order.
No, you gotta remember, this is the same actor who played Lindenmeyer in Virtuosity, so you kinda wanna shoot him.
Yeah.
Despite a very obvious bullet wound in the chest, the sheriff is entirely unhurt. He insists again that it's all fake, but when they shake the body of the maid, surprise, surprise, she does not get up and walk off like he expects. Something isn't right. The nerd from before sidles up and explains that one of the spectators is still alive. This is in fact not over, and they have to go on.
The show must go on.
No singing!
No singing.
Yeah, unless it's me. No singing.
And the sheriff seems very, very annoyed by that
Yeah.
news. It's like, oh, God damn it. I thought we were going to wrap early. I was going to go home. I had plans. I have errands to run.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much.
So he actually has to make a show of doing his job. He half-heartedly interviews the motel owner, still bleeding from the gunshot wounds, by the way, but while they're talking, the tire pulls itself upright and psychically explodes the motel owner's head. This is like Scanners, but somehow dumber.
Yeah.
Which the sheriff has almost no response. He's just like, okay, I guess we're still doing this bit. It's like,
I guess this means the
he's just
interview is
so
over.
nonplussed by it. It's just like,
Yeah, no, to me, this felt very much like the tire was like, this interview is over, and then, like, storms out.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite of that scene in Alien.
Yeah, the sheriff's like, another day, another head explosion, you know, whatever.
The son has no reaction to his father's decapitation.
Either way, the sheriff almost forgets what to do next, but fortunately, he has a copy of the script to rubber, which he pulls out and reads the next part about how, oh my god, the killer is a tire, and so forth. So now it's time to bring in...
You said it with about 10 times more enthusiasm than he actually did in the movie.
Yeah, well, you know. But now it's time to bring in the vulcanized villain. So we cut to the tire somewhere rolling around, having a good long think. You can tell that this is what's happening because it stops and seems to regard its own reflection in a bit of broken mirror while flashbacks to the previous events happen. Maybe it's having regrets, who knows, it's a fucking tire. That's how you know someone is having one of those inner monologue moments, though, because except in this case it's a dusty car tire, so you kind of have to fill in the blanks and imagine a deep and meaningful moment of reflection happening here. And this is
It is a moment of reflection, though.
Oh, God!
So, okay, so for what it's worth, I actually thought that was pretty well done. Like, this is one of the examples where they take all these, like, really cliche, tropey, like, shots that you always use, like, you know, someone sitting at the bottom of a pool and thinking about their life or looking into a mirror or whatever. It's like, that's the sign that this tire is doing something because, you know, you don't have any body language to go off of except for when the tire is, like, murder masturbating. So...
Murder-baiting?
Would you say that the cliche is a little tired?
Oh!
Zing!
Hey-o. All the while, the young man has been watching, and he approaches and tries to reason with the tire, explaining that it will be in trouble with the police because of what happened, trying to get it to talk or something, but it doesn't talk. It is, and this bears repeating yet again, just an old car tire.
I didn't really understand, like, why the kid wasn't, like, afraid of the tire or anything. Like, he saw the remnants of the maid. He saw the exploded... Well, I guess he didn't know the crow was from the thing. Anyway, he saw the remnants of the maid and everything, and he knows the tire did all this creepy stuff. Yet he's gonna just sit there and
actually, I know
talk to
why.
Like, if I
know
knew
why.
someone was a murderer, I wouldn't just sit there and talk to them. I would be worried that they were gonna murder me, you know?
I know why. I can tell you why. Because fuck you, that's why.
Some exposition, right?
He believes in the inherent goodness of the soul of every tire, right? Like maybe the rubber on the edges is black.
Thinks the tire is evil. The kid hates the tire. The kid knows the tire is terrible.
No, but you know, there's some good in it still. Maybe if you could just get it back on the rims, right? You know.
Okay.
Has it fallen off the wagon?
Yeah, it's fallen off the axle.
I'm giving you nothing for that. Nothing.
So, the sheriff is briefing the others on what to look out for. And just so they're clear, he pulls a tire from a car and tells them, "This is what our killer looks like. A tire."
I love this.
The other law persons are dubious, as you can imagine, but orders are orders, I guess. One of them asks what brand of tire they're looking for. Unknown. Another asks, is it black?
Oh, Jesus
Fucking
Christ.
A-cab, I guess. The boy comes running and tells them which direction the tire rolled off in. Time to burn rubber.
Ethan? Even you?
I think we've beaten us Inquisitor into submission.
About time.
Somewhere in the distance, the bodies of the murdered audience are scattered about, but the one remaining spectator, still unpoisoned, is sitting there watching closely. Yes, it's that grizzled wheelchair-bound guy from before, and he's still insisting on seeing this thing through to the end. He is determined that they won't get away from this, and by this, we don't mean homicide, we mean not finishing the story. That is the hill he is choosing to die on. The nerd approaches with a whole buffet trolley this time and tries to tempt him with some lovely food. And it is lovely, but our veteran is not falling for it. Even lovely eclairs won't work on him. Because, Americans are so big on eating eclairs. But the nerd is getting desperate by this point, and he tries telling him that there isn't even an end to this thing. There's no point watching. But according to the spectator, a pretty exciting scene of cops chasing the tire is playing out.
See, I actually read that more as the trope of, like, the person in the horror movie who doesn't do the smart thing and just leave completely.
Right.
Well, we cut to the tire rolling down the road, and it gets pulled over by a cop car. So it pauses and explodes the driver. Sweet.
Yeah, at one point you can even see like a little fountain of blood squirting up out of the guy's arteries on the severed neck.
Really well
I
done.
ask myself, what is the cops' plan for this? If they catch the terror, what are they going to do to it?
We're gonna shoot it. A lot.
Okay.
Fill it full of lead.
Yeah, that's kind of the default
Which
thing
they
that
could have
cops
done
do.
without pulling it over. They could shoot it while it's rolling. It wasn't going that fast.
Didn't you see the outtakes where they tased it for 10 minutes while telling it not to resist? Stop resisting! Stop resisting!
Cooperator, you will be tased again!
Can you tase something if it's made of rubber?
That's a very good question.
Well, the nerd is despondent, and while this is all going on, he just starts narrating a rambling, pointless story about his own life while enjoying some tuna tartare. And casually eats a lovely eclair. Uh-oh. That's a poisoning right there. The nerd dies, hoisted by his own buffet, you might say.
I thought it was
Even
pronounced
if it
buffet.
wasn't poisoned, he was eating raw fish and dairy that had been sitting out in the desert heat for like at least an hour or so while he was talking to the other guy. I mean, that was going to kill him anyway.
Yeah, that's a poisoning right there.
The last spectator is unmoved. He was serious about watching this thing all the way through to the end.
Well, that was quite the kerfuffle.
I thought a kerfuffle was a unit of measurement, like for sugar or something.
No, it's a commotion caused by conflicting views.
Well, it can be a unit of measurement. 5 kerfuffles equals 1 shit show. 2 shit shows is 1 clusterfuck.
A kerfuffle is more than a buggery, but less than a ballyhoo.
Are those metric?
Then, what's a turd circus?
Well, that definitely sounds metric.
Wait. Ethan, did you make that up?
All units of measurement are made up.
Actually, you're not wrong. You're just wrong about how you're right.
Ooh, that's deep.
How deep?
Are we measuring in feet or meters?
Fathoms. Depth is measured in fathoms.
So where are we?
Give me a minute. Give me a minute.
Well, I'm lost. I'm lost and alone and lost in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
We're all
alone. Why did we get out of the car?
Speak for yourself.
Just try to stay calm. I think we might have gone the wrong way. Everyone, look for landmarks. What do you see?
Terrifyingly pointy mountain bits.
An absolute lack of features or people.
There's, one of those old cow skulls just sitting there. You know it's bad when there's a cow skull lying around. Stop looking at me, Herbert!
America all looks the same to me, anyway.
Really?
Grass and rocks and shit?
There's a group of nude motorcyclists, Count. They look quite angry.
Oof, not to mention chafed.
Crap. They thawed out. Back in the car! Keep conclaving!
Crossover!
take this bit. The tire seems to be in a contemplative mood as it rolls along before it spots some smoke in the distance. Approaching, it discovers a massive tire fire with junkyard workers tossing more and more tires onto the blaze. What a terrifying scene of rubbery genocide. The tire is not pleased.
You know, they really did a good job at like showing the tires like disbelief and then anger, just in the angles that they picked. It was just like,
as far as emotional acting performances by car tires, this is one of the best. It's like Olivier at his greatest.
I mean, I'd say it's better than most of the other acting in the movie.
Well, 3 days later, and chaos has descended on town. There is absolute silence, and the remains of head-splosions everywhere. It looks like the tire has taken out some serious frustrations on its creators. All humans must pay.
Exterminate!
It was a very Bender sort of moment here. Kill all humans.
Yeah.
It's gonna rub them all out.
Didn't see that coming. I was taking a drink. Please continue.
The tire is taking a well-earned break from all that hard work exploding folks by watching TV. However, the long arm of the law is finally catching up. Unbeknownst to the tire, it has been spotted by a member of the sheriff's department who radios for help.
And what is the tire watching? Wait for it. Racing!
NASCAR!
It was watching NASCAR.
The tire was watching NASCAR.
Real NASCAR. It's the tire equivalent of watching porn.
Yeah, I mean, that's like tire porn. They're just ripping those tires off, putting them back on.
No, that is absolutely tire pay-per-view porn.
You know, I just realized who the perfect person, if they remake this movie with the tire as an actor, would be Michael Ironside.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. He's the guy from Scanners, blows it up. He's got the Craigie Cratch features and stuff like that. And, you know, his name kind of sounds tire-esque.
I don't know. I think Marcel Marceau would be good, you know. Nice mime in there. A lot of mime work. Just keep it silent.
But deadly.
Well, anyway, this situation calls for a diabolically cunning plan, and the sheriff has one. By now, apparently, they've gotten wind that the tire is obsessed with our convertible girl. So, in a dastardly cunning move, they make up a mannequin to look vaguely like her and wire it up with dynamite. In a nearby van, the girl herself has been given a script to read, with her voice coming out of a speaker hanging around the mannequin's neck.
Very thick French accent out of that girl, too.
Yeah, so. She's very French.
Very French.
I didn't understand why the girl was still there. Like, so when she first gets to the hotel, she calls someone on the phone. I think she's her mom or something. She says, yeah, I'm just going to stay here for the night. I'm tired of driving. And when you see her, get out of the pool, she only has her one pair of shoes. She's still wearing her boots, you know. She doesn't have a lot of luggage. She was just driving through. So why didn't she just keep going? Why is she there?
So it's my turn to explain this one. So specifically, the reason is because fuck you. That's why.
Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought. I mean, just was hoping for a little more, but
I guess you found
fuck you and the horse you rode in on. That's why.
There we go. Now it makes more sense. Thank you.
Yeah, you've really unpicked this tapestry, Columbo.
One more thing.
One more.
Come get me, she says boredly. I'm right here. The tire rolls out of the front door suspiciously and approaches. The bait is reeling in the rubbery fish. They get her to say vaguely sexy things through the speaker, and she quite rightly asks who wrote this crap. It sounds a lot like a porn script.
Sheriff Chad, that's who. Only someone with the name Sheriff Chad could write porn this bad.
Yeah, he really insists that she has to read it as written as well. He's a
pretty picky director. Did you mean that to rhyme, Daniel? Because that was rad.
I meant it to rhyme. I did not mean for you to then rhyme after it.
Oh, I didn't either. Huh. How about that?
You're each a poet and you didn't know it.
Let's leave it that way, thanks.
Well, past his prologue.
This is all patently ridiculous, and the last remaining audience member agrees. He has wheeled his way up to the van and knocks on the back door irritably. The whole bit makes no sense. He could go along with the rest of the plot, but this whole extended lure arrangement makes no sense at all. Why not just blow the tire away? But clearly, explains a very annoyed sheriff, by provoking the tire into blowing up the mannequin and setting off the dynamite, the tire will effectively bring about its own demise, which makes much more thematic sense.
Really?
It's symbolism. You have to think about the symbolism of it.
Do we, though?
And this is coming from the sheriff that wanted it all to be over days ago anyway, so it just really, really doesn't make sense.
No, he's decided to lean into it by this point.
They should have put the dynamite
be a movie,
lower
it better
down.
be a fucking movie.
Well, eventually, even the tire gets tired of these tiring tirades and blows up the head of the mannequin, but without setting off the bomb. In sheer frustration, the sheriff takes matters into his own hands and strides into the house with a shotgun and ends matters with a 12-bore argument.
See, I told you, just shoot it.
Well, that's the thing, and that's what the guy in the wheelchair was saying, too.
This is definitely French commentary on America.
Yeah. Or put the dynamite up higher, because they know the target of the...
Yeah, they should have put it in the head.
In the head, yeah.
Yeah, they've really not thought through the whole mannequin thing at all, but what can you do?
I mean, it's clear that they're at this point they're completely out of script, so they're just like making shit up as they go along.
I feel like they were doing that from the beginning.
The whole explosive mannequin bit is hardly a model plan. The audience member is unhappy with this. It's hardly a good ending. But suddenly, a child's tricycle in the yard starts to move. The audience member is delighted. It's not over after all. The tire reincarnated. This is great. The show isn't over. Then the tricycle explodes him, and this is great. The show is over.
That is great. The
After
show is over.
he broke the fourth wall too. Again, he pleaded with the tire/tricycle. He's like, no, don't worry about me. I'm just a spectator. You don't have to worry about me. I'm not in this. And the tricycle does not give a fuck and blows him up anyway.
As everyone buggers off home after a violently boring and dramatically unproductive day, a lone tricycle wheels off down the road. It passes the girl in her car. Soon it is joined by others. Wheels, car tires, a massive tractor tire, all marching, rolling onwards towards Hollywood. They make their way towards the famous sign. Why now? Why there? Why tires? No reason.
It's commentary about everything in Hollywood being a tired retread.
I read this more like some horror films. He's like the evil spirit that's incarnated the tricycle now is like extending its influence to other inanimate objects to like recreate a whole army of like evil rubber
this is
round.
Absolutely the ending of Child's Play Part 2.
No, you see, it's actually that tricycle which ends up getting work in The Shining.
It's a shared universe now.
Oh,
I liked
the
how
Shining
the girl
Extended Universe, the SCU.
I liked how the girl very wisely chose to just ignore the tricycle, let it go fuck off and do its own business, and she was just like, I'm just gonna keep driving and pretend that I didn't see that because I don't want any more of this bullshit.
And she turned
Smartest
out to be the
thing anyone
smartest
did in the
person
entire
whole thing. She's the cleverest person in this thing, and she takes showers with the door open.
Needs to know her, needs to know her door situation.
Well, that's it. We are out of gas and out of options. Are those assholes still following us?
Yep.
And are they still,
So nude. It's kind of distracting. And not in a good way. Ugh, certain things shouldn't be flapping in the wind.
That's it. We're doomed. Like to say that it's been fun, but,
Oh, that's nice. But yeah, it's been terrible.
I'm never gonna get back to my bookshop.
I'll never be caught by the authorities for what I did.
Brimstone Road, take me home.
I can't die now. I'm so young and strong. Vibrant.
Oh, shut up, you wicker basket full of cat food. I'm thinking.
West Gahanna, Mountain Mama.
Stop.
Well, no rush or anything, but they're going to be on us in about 10 Mississippis. I guess this is it. We die in the temperate, grassy prairie zone.
No. It's a desert. Everyone, follow me.
Reckon is a mile down the road. We got 'em. I've been froze. I've been sunburned. I got some roadkill all over my balls. I'm gonna kill these guys.
You don't take a guy's paints. You just don't.
They may take our stuff. They may freeze us solid. They may make us take a nude ride through a god-dang desert. But fuck those guys. Hell's whippoorwills charge. Hooty-hoo. Hooty-hoo.
Hooty fucking who.
That's right. Just like that. Make that a little bit higher. Yes, I think it'll work.
This better work.
Here, I found some scrub to make hair. I only had time to weave a couple of bouffants and a double Dutch waterfall braid.
Good enough. Stick that there. Yeah. Yes, done. What do you think?
Well, I guess from a distance, it looks like a group of guys standing by the road. Dang, though. Wanted to keep those cool jackets.
No time. They may be makeshift mannequins, but from a distance, it's good enough to fool a bunch of enraged meatheads. Quick, hide! Find a bush.
There by the road. They's wearing our gear. Charge 'em down, boys.
What happened?
We wiped out, man. They was fakes.
What happened?
Oh, shit. What is all that?
Careful, chumps! You'll notice that you've crashed into a thicket of saguaro cacti. Native to desert regions, not exactly fun to brush up against.
Especially when you're so nude.
You guys don't mind if we borrow your rides, right, guys?
Oh, you assholes. You're gonna pay.
I think not, my friend. I spent all my money on electric motel massage machine.
What does that even mean?
Saddle up, kids. It's time to ride.
As the leader of this cult, it is I who dramatically announces that we ride!
Well, get on with it. 'Cause we riding.
I thought we agreed no leader.
You're damned right. Now all of you shut up and do as I say and ride!
But where are we riding to?
Okay, now we ride!
I'm gonna say it. I don't want to be called goat cheese no more. Not now, goat cheese. I mean, what exactly is wrong with Kevin? Not now, goat cheese.
Is that giant slushy ahead? I'm feeling so thirsty, and slushy would really hit the spot.
No, that is another storage tank.
This dark desert highway is so dark, I can't make out a thing.
Hey, anyone smell anything? It's kind of warm.
Must be all the colitas. They rise up through the air around here.
Gotta love the cool wind in our hair, though, right? I mean, shout out if you see anything.
Must resist.
Up ahead. In the distance.
I see it. Shimmering light.
Well, I don't see shit. I'm so sleepy. Gotta stop for the night, guys.
Welcome to the Hotel Count.
No singing!
I think you're right, though. There's something coming up. Roadhouse, huh? We talking Patrick Swayze or Jake Gyllenhaal?
According to the map, we are 5 miles out of dead lizard gulch. Population unknown. Apparently, the statistics people will run out of town for witchcraft.
We have a map?
Of course, it was on the back of the fluff-covered sticky lozenges package.
I knew there were more lozenges.
Let's roll up and park these puppies.
I think you mean steal horses.
On a steel horse I ride!
No singing!
Oh.
Maybe they'll have some decent food. Well, at least edible food.
As long as it's on a plate and not actively trying to escape, I don't care.
Brother Daniel, when did you have time to get a "If you can read this, my typewriter fell off my bike" t-shirt?
I didn't. It was just in the saddlebags.
Everybody, grab a drink and occupy a corner table. We have a film to judge.
Oh boy.
Cool. Beginning with you.
You, out of the booth.
Well, now that we're all settled with our cold beverages and our nibbles, let's begin my favorite part. Judgment. Zach, keeper of the door, begin.
Okay, out of all the movies that we have watched for all of our conclaves, I have found a redeeming value in every single one.
Really?
But not this one. This one fucking broke me. I hated it. I hated this movie so much that I looked up every synonym for hatred that I could find to describe how I feel. And I am now going to list them in no particular order. Hatred, contempt, distaste, disdain, loathing, abhorrence, distiltation, abomination, spite, disgust, hostility, exhortation, resentment, malice, bitterness, hatefulness, malevolence, meanness, revulsion, animosity, spitefulness, revulsion, malignicity. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I don't even fucking care. Malignity, repugnance, enmity, despite, scorn, antagonism, apathy, odium, maliciousness, aversion, indivisiveness, bile, despitefulness, horror, rancor, pique, vitriol, virulence, venom, jaundice, spleen, and cattiness.
So you're saying you just kind of disliked it. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, but did you feel chagrin?
The tires.
Prejudice, perhaps? Execration?
The tire's name was Robert. Or, in a French accent, when you say Robert, it sounds like Robert.
That's amazing! That's genius!
I fucking hate this movie to a level that I will never get to again, hopefully. This movie's not just guilty. This movie is a crime. I judge it guilty. Guilty, 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 guilty!
Robert the Tire has his own IMDb page. If you go and
fuck him! I'm unfollowing.
It's for this movie?
Well, I want to tell you that that's actually not the worst thing in the world. In fact, it has long been said that the worst feeling you can inspire in an audience is indifference. And you, my friend, are not indifferent to this film.
No. I'll say it did leave me with some strong feelings. That feeling is you remember that scene in fucking Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back when they go fly around the world to find everyone who talks shit about them online and beat the fuck out of them? I want to do that with the director and possibly the whole cast.
From the side of my face, heaving breath.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm pretty sure that that's what they were going for then, so bravo. Job well done. Assholes.
It seems a fair diagnosis that perhaps you, Brother Zachariah, have even yourself been subjected at least to some case of cinemania by this film, it sounds like.
Really? Really, Daniel? You think so?
Lethal levels of cinemania.
Really?
You need to calm down or it's going to take you out, dude.
I'm going to go over there and just hug a door for a while.
Does somebody have any ketamine? We could just put some ketamine into his drink.
Well, he has been, let's just remember, ever since the destruction of our beloved chapter house, he has been without his tinfoil hat this whole time. So
fair point.
You know.
Well, speaking of that, Brother Daniel.
All Zach and no door makes
yeah.
Zach something.
Yeah, so I had a really a pretty similar assessment of this film, except for kind of the exact opposite. I really like this film. I might be the only one of us who does. Still.
How dare you?
I dare. So it is not a perfect film, certainly.
That's an understatement.
I think there's some things that carries off better than others. It does feel, you know. But I think that all of the lovely homages to all of these cliches and trope images to sort of convey the idea of a whole bunch of different horror tropes and thriller tropes is like sweet, like just like chef's kiss. I also think that the general commentary on cinema is like just a glorious Ouroboros loop of like self-reflexive bullshit, but it's even calling out its own bullshit. I don't think the movie's genius. I mean, it does feel a bit like like something you do yourself
far up
when
its
you're
own
in
ass.
film school. Oh yeah, but I think it's like making fun of itself for being so far up its own ass, right? Especially when you think about some of the people who were involved in making this, and I don't mean whatever his bucket. What is his name?
Quentin Dupieux.
Yeah, whatever.
Quentin Dupieux?
Yeah, like I think he succeeds a little bit in spite of himself. I also still suspect that the actress who played the girl in the convertible might have just been dragged into it because she was his girlfriend at the time, and hopefully when she's driving out of the movie, she's also like dumping him. Yeah, I really that's my headcanon. So I won't belabor it. If anything, I'll probably offer counterpoints along the way. I was actually going to find this film innocent because I felt that it had circled its way around so many times to protect itself from Cinemania. However, having seen the impact that it had on our brother Zach, clearly it is guilty.
Thank you.
Proof's in the pudding.
Well, that definitely, you definitely have big feelings about it. Brother Hope, how about you?
Excuse me?
Brother Hope?
Proceed.
Excuse me? No? Sure, okay.
Auntie Hope. Proceed.
Yes.
Cinemania has taken him. He's gone. Well, I thought I couldn't hate a film more than I hated Angel's Egg, but this one got me. Angel's Egg at least had like some semblance of something. This just had nothing.
This had way more plot than Angel's Egg, to its detriment, in my opinion.
Definitely.
Less purpose. I don't know. It just seemed, it was so rambly. Like, I felt like I asked one of my preschoolers to make up a plot for a movie. They would have come up with something more coherent than this. In fact, they have. I have stories written by preschoolers that have more coherent plots than this film, and fewer layers of Truman Show Inception bullshit. I don't know. Anyways, I mean, it had a couple redeeming factors. Like, somehow the tire emotes. It was very mime-esque. Like, you can feel the tire's like emotions and like what it's trying to convey.
Yeah. Through
like subtle movements and stuff. Like when it turns around to face the police car, like as if it had a face. That's just strange, but I mean, I guess you had to do it. It couldn't just suddenly start blowing up heads without changing its direction, could it? I don't know. I only had a couple brain cells left, and this movie destroyed all of them.
You got a good point about mime. Yeah, they mime that tire. It feels like a living thing.
The tire was the best actor in the town, man.
Yeah, that was its one like thing that it did well. There were some other strange things, like where you could tell that the director or writer, whatever, was not a, if not a native English speaker, then at least not an American English speaker. Like, they said a few subtle things that just kind of didn't sound exactly right. Like the kid, like the uncle or dad or whatever said rubbish instead of garbage or trash. And unless you're an old lady, you don't say rubbish in the US. You know, when you ask him if he has homework to do, the kid says, I'm on holidays. Like, also, we don't say that. We would have said on vacation or summer break. It kind of reminds me of the way Brother Andy speaks sometimes.
Oh, so it's kind of make me wonder if Monsieur Dupieux was also a read it as written kind of guy.
Yeah. Well, and another thing, the opening credits read as sort of like a tease, too. Like, all these names are just like a little bit off from famous names. Like Quentin, but not Tarantino. And then one of the actors was David Bowie. And I'm like, you know, you just get your hopes up for like somebody good, you know. And there were other names that were just somewhat similar to famous people, and then they're not.
What a difference an eye makes, yeah.
Yeah, and the film just seems like it's gonna be funny, or like it's gonna be so bad it's good, or like there's gonna be some saving grace, and it just gets you right to the edge of your seat. And then there isn't. It's just like, it's like a cock tease of a movie. It gets your hopes up and then just leaves you hanging. So, yeah, for destroying what little faith I had left in cinema, and for making me finally maybe truly understand what Cinemania actually is, then I have to judge this film supremely, supremely guilty. And I know this judgment was quite rambling, but so was the film. Honestly, really, like, destroyed what little brain cells I have left. I'm so sorry. Somebody else go. I'm gonna just go sit in the corner and hug myself.
Brother Andy.
Well, we've heard that the worst thing a movie can do is make you feel indifference, and I, for one, felt difference. Brother Zach felt disdain and revulsion. I felt Dane and Vulsion. I can't say I hated the movie. I do believe that everything you need to know is explained to you in the first 5 minutes in the scene where the sheriff gets out of the car and directly addresses the camera and says, there is this thing called no reason, and it's an element of style that's present in all films, and this film is nothing but that, an homage to no reason as a stylistic choice, and that really is what this
all
film
style
is.
And no substance, right?
Exactly. It is an expression of that style, but nothing else, just that style, that concept of no reason, to see if style can work on its own. Quite. And ultimately, you have to decide right at the start, are you up for a film that's all style, or are you not? Do you need more than that? And if you're someone who can sit there and just let the style wash over you and ask no further questions, and enjoy the style alone for what it is, this film will work for you. If you're someone who requires something in addition to style, who needs, I don't know, plot and depth and character and themes and meaning, you're going to find something lacking in this film. It's certainly very bizarre, and what it does do very well, I think. But what it doesn't do, it deliberately doesn't do. And so it's almost like a malicious slap across the face with what it's choosing not to do. It's a very self-aware film. It's a film about films and filming, and about what it's like to have an audience, and presumably what the people in the film and the director of the film think of their audience. And as a content creator, I can absolutely empathize with that desperate need to treat your audience like the dogs they are and feed them poison food and watch them all die. That absolutely spoke to me in a very big personal way. But ultimately, much like a car tire rolling through the desert, this film is something that has a missing place in the middle. Whether you can tolerate that or not is up to you. It's certainly caused so much of a ruckus among our own cult, it absolutely has to be completely guilty.
Well, it certainly is aware of its own self-awareness.
Poisoning your captive audience is something that should seem very familiar to you, Brother Andy.
What can I say? They obviously learned from the best.
I actually found this film pretty fun, mostly because it's great fodder for commentary and full of non sequiturs, and the whole meta, watching your audience watch the film. I love that bit.
Hell
very
yeah.
funny. Hell yeah! Like, there was one point when one of the girls in the beginning is complaining someone else is like talking during when they're watching, and I'm like, we're in the middle of a fucking desert. Who cares?
Oh my gosh, that girl looked really familiar. So I pulled up her IMDb page, and she's one of those people that's done bit parts in a bunch of different things, but none of her parts are named. All of her parts are annoying girl, girlfriend, cheerleader, cheerleader, girlfriend, cheerleader, gymnast, flexible girl, cheerleader. like, well, you've obviously been typecast.
I mean, listen, if you got a skill, you might as well go with it.
She's found her niche and slotted into it.
I also have to say that the non sequitur stuff starts with the car driving up the walk, and you're like, why are all these chairs out here? And it goes out of its way to hit every single one of them. You're like, weird. It's just fun to watch, even if later on you're like, why are there chairs there in the first place? Oh, maybe they're for the audience that was watching. Well, they're kind of dicks, I guess. I mean, in addition to
them, that's why.
Fuck
and
them.
so many of the things do kind of just barely connect,
barely
right?
make
Like,
sense,
all of these chairs are for the audience, but then they get smashed, so now the audience is really pissed off that there isn't like a better seating arrangement, right? The kid drops the pizza, and then his dad, uncle, clone eats the pizza off the floor later, right?
Yeah.
And that's why, like, the few things that don't
drops
connect...
the pizza on the bloody, gory crime scene, too.
I know, right?
But it has continuity. I think that's the thing that's great about the movie.
Yes.
There's plenty of movies that think A point does not lead to B point. You may disagree with how it connects, but there are connections in this film. And so stuff like that, like the guy when the audience is sleeping and then the nerd shows up and he takes money out of all their pockets. Like, who the hell is this guy?
At first I thought they were dead, like from sleeping in the desert, or like they froze or something, and he's going through all their pockets, and then he's like, wake up!
I thought that was hilarious.
So you're saying, with all that continuity, it's like a completely circular, flexible yet rigid structure just rolling along that has the ability to make people's minds explode, much like, oh my god.
I'll give you a great example.
Dun, dun.
So early in the film, the tire explodes the bird, right? Later on, the boy is talking to the dad, and the dad's like, shut up, go get me a pizza. So the kid's coming back along the road with his bike with the pizza, and he sees the exploded bird, and he takes up the pieces, puts it on the pizza, right? He doesn't know that was the bird that the tire exploded, but the audience knows, right? And then later on, when he gets back...
Yeah, he probably just thinks it's roadkill.
Exactly. He gets back to the hotel, and he drops the box when discovers the maid explosion. But then later, his dad picks up that box as it's eating the pizza that had the bird on it that was exploded by the tire when he gets exploded by the tire. That's like great continuity right there.
It has the bird on the pizza and the maid's guts on the outside of the box.
Oh yeah, exactly. So like, I appreciate that kind of like linear like continuity in a film, even if it's so bonkers.
And it also
like
shows that the French will eat anything.
So, I actually loved, and the disdain for the audience is very obvious. I'm pretty sure that the nerd
and well-founded
is a familiar to a vampire with a yes, master.
Yeah.
Let me kill this turkey with this knife for you.
See, this is the one thing where I think sometimes the movie does fail. Like, is if you're gonna drop something, like you have a thing and then you drop it, and it's probably on purpose. It's meant to be like a stupid random non sequitur.
Right.
They needed just a little bit more to make it clear that that was intentional. Just a little more. And that's where I think the movie does slip up sometimes. But
yeah, I agree with that too. And I feel like the ending could have been really great if they'd made it a little more obvious what they were going with. Because a whole like a tire that reincarnates as a tricycle and then rolls down the road and like recruits an army of like psychokinetic vehicle wheels. Like assaulting Holly would be great ending for like a horror film, but they didn't quite push it over the line.
I mean, your budget runs out somewhere.
Yeah, budget runs out somewhere, but that would have been a great ending to like a regular horror movie. They just didn't quite reach it. So I would, if anything, say it's guilty because it had so much potential for being a actually funny, decent kind of horror film, and it just didn't quite make it. So I'm disappointed, and therefore have to judge it guilty.
Oh, well, excellent. Well, I suppose I'll have to my analysis of this is I feel like when I think about this, because I watched this some years ago, it sticks around in my mind like a dream. When I recall it, it feels like remembering a dream. And I realized that Rubber is a very rare example of a contemporary film in the French Impressionist style. Now, those of you who have taken a film history class will remember that French Impressionism is a sort of movement from the 1920s and 30s that was trying to create cinema that looked and felt like a dream.
Yeah, I remember.
One of the key examples that's cited when they talk about French Impressionism is the 1929 film Un Chien Andalou by Luis Buñuel and Salvador Dali. Now, I know everyone who's seen that movie still cringes at the razored eyeball used at the opening of the picture, but once you get past that part, and I fully acknowledge that is a hard part to get past, it's filled with imagery sourced from its filmmaker's dreams, like literal dreams that Buñuel and Dali had. And the story in that film flowed according to dream logic. So when people think about this era of film, they typically think about German Expressionism, which is the opposite to French Impressionism. That's the early silent horror films like Nosferatu or The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. That style that was revived by Tim Burton. Stylistic elements of it live on in modern horror films, but
Love that stuff.
yeah, I mean, French Impressionism was never really as strong as German Expressionism as an aesthetic movement, and it, well, faded away after about 1941 when Citizen Kane combined French Impressionism with German Expressionism and other aesthetic styles of other films that preceded it in one of the first examples of cinematic pastiche.
Oh, I thought it got replaced by Belgian decompressionism.
No. But Citizen Kane was one of the first examples of cinematic pastiche, which means that, yes, Orson Welles was his generation's Quentin Tarantino, but I don't know whether he liked feet. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Rubber is, in my opinion, an authentic contemporary example of French Impressionism, not just because the director is French, but because it skillfully uses dreamlike imagery and dream logic. Stuff just sort of happens in a disjointed and disconnected way that kind of makes sense if you don't think too hard about it. Differently from the actual era of French Impressionism, it doesn't have that gauzy look that's used like with Vaseline lenses and fog filters, and anyway, that kind of crap's used in romance films, not so much anymore. But what's more, also Andalusian Dog did not bother with too much of that kind of thing anyhow. Quentin Dupieux went for the kind of dream with harsh lighting and bleak landscapes, which are dreams of a type that I have certainly had. Like I can recall lots of dreams where I felt like I was under glaring, harsh sunlight, and I was having a hard time keeping my eyes open because of the glare. That's a dream I've had a lot. So another film that stands out in my mind is one of the few contemporary examples of French Impressionist cinema was 2000's The Cell, starring Vincent D'Onofrio and Jennifer Lopez's buttocks.
That was the first movie that ever gave me like real ick. Like I don't really care for horror films or thrillers or anything because I don't really have any suspension of disbelief. I'm like, that wouldn't happen, and it doesn't actually scare me. That one freaked me the fuck out because like the kid came from an abused home and all this, and like that stuff that could really happen. I mean, except for the sci-fi parts, but like that film was fucked up, like really fucked up. Also, I was 10 when I saw it, and probably shouldn't have seen it.
Well, I mean, The Cell had to kind of, because it had better cinematography and big names, it had a budget that demanded it concoct a bullshit story that featured, serial killers and federal agents and experimental dream technology to justify why it's using dreamlike imagery. It didn't just go for dreamlike imagery and dream logic. Rubber didn't have that same problem because it had a fraction of the budget that The Cell had. So he was able to go full hog impressionist with it. And Yeah, it throws some similar concessions to its audience with that monologue at the beginning about stuff happening for no reason. But even that kind of feels sort of dreamlike. You know, it sets it up, and there's a lot of layers to it. But ultimately, I think this one can be classified as Impressionism. And yes, before you say it, Zach, I could include 1984's Dreamscape in the general idea of Impressionist film, but that dragged us off into analysis of it and the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and that just, I don't have time for that shit. So for reviving French Impressionism, for being insufferably avant-garde, and for every reason that we've listed so far and in the list of charges, I vote this film guilty.
It sounds like you're saying that this film is rubber and you are glue, and it bounced off us and stuck to you.
Yeah. Well said, yes.
If I may just put a slight little thing in, for the low budget they were, I really thought the special effects worked. Like when the rabbits or whatever explode, it's gross. When the tire's sleeping, you can almost see it breathing. Like the sound it makes when it's going to explode someone sounds kind of like a car engine. I feel like what they did well.
Oh yeah, they only used effects if they were going to work perfectly.
Yeah.
Their effects were effective.
Well said, Inquisitor Ethan. Quantity over quality, I always say.
Yeah, I know. I really like to chew things over when I'm denouncing. You can tell a lot about someone by how they denounce.
Yeah, maybe next time we can watch something a little bit more normal. And would it be too much to ask that no one tries to kill us all?
No. And yes.
Guys? Did those guys who just came in look familiar to you?
The traveling salesman and the woman half his age who is definitely not his wife?
No.
The group of charity workers that no one dares make eye contact with in case they start making a speech and asking for money.
No, not them.
The 1978 roller disco dance-off championship team?
No. But good eye. I barely spotted them there.
Some people think I have two.
A barely dressed group of vicious killers who are covered in cactus debris and dust and look like they're about to make a whole scene?
Bingo bango. Familiar, right?
Familiar how? You Americans are also bland and generic.
Well, imagine them way neuter and on the bikes that we stole.
You've got to be kidding me.
The cinema assassins have found us.
Wait, those guys are cinema assassins too? I thought they were just pissed because Zach robbed them.
Looted.
Murder hobo's gonna murder hobo, am I right?
Damn straight.
Immaterial! Hide!
Get out of the way. I'm under here. Move.
Here I come! Here I
I'm
come!
hiding spot.
Big enough for them.
Clark Nova, here, in with me!
Hey,
Pizza delivery. Who ordered 2 pies of intense pain topped with brutal maiming?
Unnecessary imagery, but I'll allow it.
Horse-ass face piss wagon. Go serve those tables over there.
We came to kick ass and visit the local tourist attraction, and there's plenty of time for tourism later. The gift shop don't close till 7.
I'll cover the entrance. Goat cheese. Kevin, you go check out the kitchen.
No shortage of sharp, pointy implements in there, just like a cactus patch. It's payback time.
Hey, Daniel, you have a dark bargain with Clark Nova. Can you just take care of these guys?
I'm not taking on 6 angry bikers.
4, sir. 4.
Clarky, do it for me?
I can't do it anymore. Those cowboys are meatheads and I'm watching my cholesterol.
What grateful little shit. To see if you get another bump.
Think everybody. They may have muscles, violence, weapons, lethal cunning, and reflexes sharpened by a life of harsh criminal activity. But what do we have?
I have a tequila sunrise. Oh, and a little paper umbrella. Jam it in their eyes.
Besides that...
Here. I found this porcelain donkey with a sombrero. I think it's supposed to add a little charm and local flavor to this foul bistro.
Yes, good. But I was hoping we could find stuff around here that might actually help the situation.
My advice is to stay away from the buffet. I've never seen salad sweating before, and those tiny sausages look fiendish.
Ah, perfect.
My porcelain donkey takes its hat off to you, Inquisitor Ethan.
Finally, you recognize my genius. This roadhouse breakfast bonanza could stop a rhinoceros on a skateboard up a steep hill.
And then we just sneak out while the toilets get demolished. Brilliant.
We don't have much time. There's only so long those guys will be distracted by a sudden roller disco dance-off duel.
Oh, is that why they're dancing?
Yeah, and how the hell did that happen?
They're dancing because fuck you, that's why.
Are we really going to do this? Speaking from experience, it's no fun being on the wrong end of diabolical poisoning.
What's past this prologue?
Oh, fuck you.
Let's see here. Slick, glistening oatmeal, diesel-flavored lasagna, sprinkling of generic ham-style meat powder protein flakes. This should work. This should work. We just need an entree.
Here. I grabbed this undercooked pork chop off the grill when the line cook wasn't looking. I think he was entranced by the middle bars of Boogie Wonderland.
Ooh, that means short and long-term complications.
Fingers crossed for brainworms.
You're assuming those idiots don't already have them.
Fair point. Now we just need to set the hook.
Leave that to me. When you're looking for the best underhanded compliments and manipulation, I'm your man.
Manipulation? You can say that again.
Manipulation.
I still haven't forgiven you for that spiked tea incident.
If we get out of this alive, I owe you a can of Diet Coke, okay?
Bastard.
Why is Andy just walking up to them?
Like all British people, he has the ability to make people think he's a butler.
Who's this guy?
Something about him makes me feel like he's gonna get me little sandwiches with the crust cut off.
Gentlemen, clearly you've had quite a difficult time of late, and so I simply insist that you enjoy some delicious refreshments before you continue with all the pounding and pummeling and whatnot. Toodle-pip and what and tally-ho.
Sounds fair enough to me.
Oh shit, is we gonna have little sandwiches and shit?
That is, if your boss doesn't mind.
Oh yeah, Boneskidoo, get over here and try this. It's all so fancy. That's one thing the elves whippoorwills are, is fancy.
You know what, Jeeves? You're all right.
Ha ha! Behold! I was never, in fact, an amiable and hyper-competent 1920s manservant who happened to wander by at all.
We's be fools, thee. This day just gets better and better. So now, who wants to die first?
My guest.
Smarmy city boy, you fake sarcasm will save you. Horse-ass face, I don't feel so good.
Ew, I'm gonna need a minute here. Bathroom? Oh, no. Where's the bathroom? This here's an emergency.
What the hell is going on?
Better run along, little doggy, for you can't walk.
You're gonna pay for this. When we get done here, you is dead.
Sorry, boys. You always gotta know what your door situation is.
Where does the Cinemania High Council find these guys?
This plan worked, but the stench is starting to turn my stomach. Let's get out of here.
Looks like once again the Cinemania Society have triumphed. We're an unstoppable force. It's like some kind of psychic sentient car tire. And yes.
Or inscrutable food poisoning.
I guess the movie was right. Poison buffet really is the way to go.
Huh. That reminds me. That movie was all messed up. I just don't get it.
Look, it's a simple story. Nerd meets audience, meets tire, meets girl. Everyone stays at or near hotel and watches TV while a metatextual narrative about the nature of watchers and watched plays out in a haunting tableau involving poison food before the final assault on the world of man. Been there, seen that, bought the Lego set.
Truly a tale that has been told 1,000 times. So, what now? We've got nothing but the open road ahead of us. Time to head back to civilization?
I have a better idea.
That episode of the Cinemania Society was written, produced, and performed by Andy Slack, Andrea Palladino, Daniel Scribner, Zachariah Burks, Hope Bravo, and Ethan Ireland. Sound design, mixing, mastering, and editing by Ethan Ireland. Music by Carl Casey at White Bat Audio. Sound effects and incidental music courtesy of Epidemic Sound. Visit our social media feeds on Facebook, Twitter, X at TCS_Cinemania, Instagram at The Cinemania Society, and Reddit at r/The Cinemania Society. If you like what you've heard, please visit us on Patreon and send us a donation because making podcasts is not free. Seriously though, we don't disrespect you by running commercials, and we put a lot of effort into this show. We're worth at least the price of a cup of coffee, come on. The Cinemania Society is a product of the Cinemania Society, LLC.